Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, broadcasting from my hidden base at the center of the Earth, and I've made no secret of my loathing of live-action remakes of animated classics. As far as I'm concerned, every one of these things is an abomination that potentially deprives whole generations of children from enjoying the wonderful things that we got to enjoy once upon a time. Everyone watching this video hates spoilers, and for damn good reason, since spoilers absolutely strip a movie of the essential element of surprise. And yet, what are these live-action remakes other than movie-length spoilers? If a kid goes to see the shoddy live-action remake of Little Mermaid, then if they ever are lucky enough to come across the animated classic, one of the most charming movies ever made, they'll already know the story, all of its twists and turns, and thus they'll never be able to see classic films like Little Mermaid, Lion King, and Pinocchio as they were meant to be seen, fresh and filled with surprises. I hate that these cinematic equivalents of spam will substitute for the cognitively nutritious films that inspired us all as kids. And this goes doubly for Snow White. Snow White is looking to be the very worst remake of them all, because this thing is going to present a decidedly twisted version of the original classic, distorted in a creepy warped mirror in a DEI carnival fun house, starring a woman completely wrong for the role, who despite recent apologies and retractions has revealed her utter contempt for the original classic and a large portion of its potential audience. As reported on this channel last year, Disney flipped out over Zegler's comments and told her to shut the hell up, hence the aforementioned apologies. But the damage is done, and Disney knows it. Now they're doing their very best to do damage control on this thing, as box office estimates continue to drop, including a few recent and radical steps that reveal just how worried the mouse is about Snow Woke. What radical steps, you ask? According to the UK's Daily Mail, rather than allow critics to savage the film in advance and to keep Zegler's mouth shut as much as possible, Disney has cancelled the big star-studded UK premiere of Snow White.
Well, chim-chim-cheree, a sweep is as busy can be, sweeping Rachel Zegler under a soundproof rug. This movie is literally everything going against it. It's been the equivalent of a train wreck slamming into the Titanic as the Hindenburg smolders on the looming iceberg. They tried to replace the dwarves with 7 magical welfare recipient hustlers, but that didn't fly. Peter Dinklage kicked up a fuss about the whole idea of dwarves, so they turned the dwarves into CGI garden gnomes. They cast a woman with zero charm and innocence to play a character that epitomizes those virtues. They've turned her from a princess seeking true love into a revolutionary fighting against the tyranny of the queen like a female shit Guevara. And because this is no longer a story about true love and love's first kiss, they're cutting the whole I'm wishing / one song duet and substituting that mediocre generic piece of cheese whiz Waiting for a Wish in its place, where Rachel Zegler sings about her future career options as a stunning and brave leader. This thing is a shit show, and that's not even mentioning the obvious disparity between how Gal Gadot looks and how Rachel Zegler looks. This thing is a disaster, and you're saying Disney knows it?
I'm not saying it, Harvey Cthulhu. The Daily Mail is saying it. In an article titled, "Disney Won't Be Having a UK Premiere in an Attempt to Avoid Anti-Woke Backlash to the Controversial Adaptation," they write, quote, "As one of the most anticipated and expensive films of the year, it would only be right for Disney to roll out the red carpet for its forthcoming Snow White. But the Mail can reveal bosses are refusing to hold a star-studded premiere in the UK for the movie over fears of backlash over woking it up."
Woking it up? That's a good one. I like that. Hey, woke you, Mother Woker. An apt expression, I do confess it. Apparently, Snow White is going to woke the mouse right up the old wazoo. Obviously, they've taken this extraordinary step to try and limit the damage, though really, that shit has sailed, in my opinion.
I agree, O Skull of Calderon, yet I have to say, Disney's wise to take this precaution, and I'd do the same thing in their bright yellow oversized shoes. Of course, I'd never be in those shoes because I'd never have greenlit this shit in the first place. We just wouldn't be in this situation. But the article continues, quote, "Despite the release date not being until later this month, the film has already been lambasted for having a Snow White played by Latin actress Rachel Zegler and not including the 7 dwarves in the title. Well, it's all about her. Who the hell are these dwarves? They can get their own damn movie, right, Rachel? What would usually be a big Leicester Square event full of lights and cameras for a £212 million live-action remake of the 1937 cartoon film, instead, there will be no celebration on British soil in an attempt to avoid anti-woke backlash. Well, good luck with that. Instead, there will be a handful of tightly controlled press events where they will presumably wheel out Rachel Zegler on a gurney, restrained and dressed just like Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs. That's how I imagined it anyway. An insider told the Mail, Disney are already anticipating an anti-woke backlash against Snow White and have reduced the media schedule to just a handful of tightly controlled press events. That is why they have taken the highly unusual step not to host a London premiere for the film and are minimizing the amount of press questions that Rachel Zegler gets. The decision comes after Snow White actress Rachel Zegler was labeled a walking PR disaster for Disney, having made controversial comments about her role. In a 2022 interview, this has been going on for years, folks, years of damage. Miss Zegler, 23, called the original film dated and critiqued elements like Snow White's relationship with Prince Charming as a guy who literally stalks her, as well as calling the film weird.
Yep, well, there's nothing quite like your lead actress telling the press she hates the original movie. Oh, well, judging from the horrible trailers, people are gonna hate the remake, so I guess it all balances out in the circle of life.
Sadly, yes, Harvey. Kudos to Disney for at least realizing they have a problem and doing what they can to minimize their exposure, including refraining from flushing money down the toilet advertising Snow White during the Super Bowl. But I just don't think there's any way around it. This thing is going to bomb when it hits theaters later this month, barring a miracle, a wish that Disney may be waiting for a long, long time. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha.